This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, just recovering from vacation, and Matt Allen decided he was going to step out and take a little bit of time off. But otherwise, together we are your KTAR car guys, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you got car questions, we've got car answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, or you can text us at 411-923. And Matt's out, but I'm saying we because I brought a friend in. Kurt Morgan from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair is here to help me help you with your car. And Kurt, I just got back from vacation. I went to San Diego, and we talk on this show all the time about getting your car ready for a road trip. And, this year we've got a brand new vehicle in the family, 2016 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And so I'm thinking, what can go wrong? Gas and go. So I put 4 bicycles on the back of this car, loaded it up with stuff, headed for San Diego. We rented a house for the week. San Diego's kind of like the promised land. I mean, I was so ready for this vacation. And we are I was speeding all the way there. Went through El Centro. We're going up that there's going to be coming up on that big hill, going over into San Diego. And we're going, and all of a sudden the car just dies. And I told my wife, I'm like, the car just died. She's like, what do you mean it died? I said, it's not working. So there we are on the side of the road, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I look at it, and it's got gas in it. There's a little button on the rearview mirror now. You push that, and there's people that are supposed to help you. So the lady picks up the phone, and she says, how can I help you? I said, well, we're broke down here on the side of the freeway, or highway, and we need some help. She says, where are you at? I have no idea where I'm at. I'm between 2 mile markers, and I can't see either one of them, so I'm hoping that you have like a screen that shows you where I'm at. So I was a little snippy with the lady. My wife was a little aggravated that I was being rude. But I was very stressed out because it was very hot out. It was 107 degrees, and I'm broken down on the side of the road, and when the engine doesn't run, the air condition doesn't work. So we put up the windshield, the sunscreen that you put on when you park your car. We put that up there, and I opened the hood, and there's not much you can do to these cars on the side of the road anymore. Just nothing you can do to them. So I open the hood, and I'm like, well, it sounds like it's not getting fuel. So I go to the fuel pump relay, and I'm tapping on it. It's not that. Make no change. That's the same relay as the one next to it, so I swapped those out. No change. So now I'm playing musical relay in the power distribution box to see if, I'm just hoping by some outside chance maybe that's all it is, and we're going to get back on the road. No big deal. Well, no, not at all. So I'm thinking, well, bad fuel pump. Maybe I'll go bang on the fuel tank, see if that helps things out. So it's really hot. I'm kind of reaching underneath there. I'm banging on something. It sounds hollow, but I don't think anything of it because I'm thinking I'm hitting a shield or something because I can't really get down up underneath there. And, I get back in the car and just wait. We got one little Dasani bottle. That's our water. We're just sweating buckets in this new car. It's
not a big prepper is what you're saying.
Not a big prepper at all. I mean, all of a sudden the car, a brand new car, doesn't smell like new car. It smells like the inside of a jockstrap because I'm just sweating buckets. It was 2.5 hours before a DPS guy pulled over, and he said, wow, it's hot. I'm going to get back in the car. You guys all right? And so we were there long enough that I put a post on Facebook because I was I was aggravated, and some friends from Yuma drove all the way from Yuma to where we were at and brought us some water, which was nice. And then the tow truck showed up. So this tow truck shows up, and he backs up to the car. And the name of this tow truck, I don't know if I can say this on the air, but it was Camel Toe. And my son wanted to know why that was funny. And he's 11 years old, and I said, because it's probably slow. So the guy backs up into my car, deet, deet, and I am not happy. I'm like delirious. I get this delirious humor. I'm making jokes with the tow driver, and he backs up the car, and we realize you can't start the car, so you can't get the car out of park to put it in neutral to drag it up on this tow truck. So I got to pull out the owner's manual. I don't think I've ever read one of those. And I'm reading through it. Well, apparently, the new cars, everything's electronic now, and I know this, but you got to take apart the console, and inside the console there's a little rip cord you pull that puts the car in a neutral so you can put it up on the tow truck. So we are on the tow truck, and one of the questions they asked me when I called the little Chrysler number is, does the car have gas in it? I go, of course it's got gas in it. It's got a quarter tank of gas, and it says 91 miles till empty. I'm in great shape. I should be totally fine. So we're going in this tow truck up that hill. That hill going to San Diego where there's the little buckets. Radiator water says don't drink it. It's probably not good for you, but if you need your radiator, need some water. So we're going up that hill. This tow truck, it's a Camel again, is going 10 miles an hour. And it is like the most painful ride of my life. And I tell that, in my mind I'm thinking, all right, you shouldn't have gone that far with only a quarter tank of gas. You should put gas in the car. So I'm kind of kicking my own butt in my mind. And then I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if that car just is out of gas. So I told the tow driver, I said, would you pull over to the first gas station we come to? So we pulled over to the first gas station. He put we put a little bit of gas in it, fired right up. And I'm like, really? You just don't expect that. There's nothing I could have done on the side of the road to fix that car other than dump 2 gallons of gas in it. It would have been a lot easier if I would have just said. But anyway, $280 tow bill later, we drove into San Diego. And before the car quit, I could almost smell the ocean in my mind. I was like, oh, I couldn't wait. I was so excited. I went from euphoria to, I'm done.
Give you more empathy for your customers that are broken down?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, you know what? That's funny that you would say that because that's what comes to mind. I'm like, I really have to remember this when people are broke down. So I guess there's 2 morals of the story. Just because you got a new gas or a new car doesn't mean you don't need a bottle of water or 2 in your car if you're going to drive over to San Diego. Because, you may rent a car, you may do whatever. And we talk about the stuff you're supposed to have in your car. Maybe you should have a blanket in case you got to, lay out of the ground, or an umbrella or shade or something. I'm out there in flip-flops, and the pavement, I think, is like, 200 degrees or something like that. I mean, it was just miserable. And I'm not built like I used to be. When I was a kid, the heat was not that bad, but it is bad.
Well, and your wife and kids are out there with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I'm talking to the lady on the phone, I have a little bit of a tone. I'll admit it. And every time I say something, my wife rolls her eyes. And so I tell the lady on the phone, I said, can you hold for a second? So I get outside the car, and I tell my wife, I said, right now, I am stressed out. I'm pissed off at myself. This is not good, and you're rolling your eyes. And she looks at me, and she goes, I get it. So I know I was rude, and I wish I could apologize to the lady, but they're used to that kind of phone call. But it does definitely give me more empathy. And also, I mean, the reality of, I'll fix somebody's car on a Friday, and they're going to take it to San Diego the next day, and I'm like, oh, please don't. Not that we didn't do a good job, not that we didn't double-check our work, but if anything is going to go wrong, Murphy's Law says it's going to happen tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be responsible for your vacation. I don't know if you ever felt like that, Kurt.
Oh, good Lord, yes. That's the one car. If you're going to have one problem this month, it's that car.
And the other thing I tell them, I said, and I even advise people who buy a new car not to take a new car immediately out of town. Yeah. And I say that, and I never really believe it. I just say it anyway because it builds my case. But now I know, even if you have a new car, my wife's car has 3,553 miles, and I'm broken down on the side of Interstate 8. It was totally, totally miserable. The other thing that happens, it is that time of year, we have interstate batteries are just flying off the shelf because summertime is the time of batteries going bad. And so that is one of the things that you're going to be all ready to go somewhere, and there's nothing worse. And especially as hot as it is right now, I think it's 112 degrees today, something like that. You're going to be sitting in that parking lot, and your car's hot. When you get into it, inside your car, it's 140 degrees, and you're going to go click, and your battery's going to be dead. So if you've got a battery that's, people think batteries, it's got a 7-year warranty, it's going to last me 7 years. Well, that's probably not the case.
Not here. Nope.
Not the case. I would say on average batteries last 2 to 3 years. On average, take the good, the bad, the ugly. And so if you've got a battery in your car that's over 2 years, you're starting to live on borrowed time. So go ahead and go to a shop that carries interstate batteries and get yourself a good battery that's got warranty coast to coast. That's a big deal in case you're in San Diego when your battery dies. So anyhow, when we come back, we're taking your phone calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE MasterTechs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A-plus rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Little step, you don't know what I got. She's my little step, you don't know what I got.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, and today Matt Allen, my partner in crime, is out, so I don't want to be all alone. I get lonely. I brought Kurt Morgan in from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair at 32nd Street in Shea to help me help you with your car. And Kurt is on the Bumper to Bumper Repair. There are a list of shops. Bumper to Bumper Radio is a network of shops that you can trust to take your car to. If you need a relationship with a shop, and we all do, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. One of the things that we do toward the end of every summer is we do some fundraising for Phoenix Children's Hospital, and all the Bumper to Bumper shops, which you can find at Bumper to Bumper Radio, are taking donations, and then they're matching those donations for Phoenix Children's Hospital. So just to name a few, if you're in North Phoenix, Kurt and Kathy Rock at Kurt's Auto Repair, you can stop in there. Or if you're in Central Phoenix, even though Matt's on vacation, his people aren't out, you can go to Virginia Auto Service to make a donation, and then they'll match that for Phoenix Children's Hospital. And if you're looking for a shop, bumpertobumperradio.com, of course. Now, we've got Wayne, Nancy, and Robert, and a couple more open lines at 602-277-5827. We are going to go with Nancy. She's got a 1997 Ford F350. How can we help you, Nancy? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Nancy? All right, not sure what's going on there. We're going to try Wayne in Phoenix.
Hello?
Oh, are you there?
Yes, I don't know, for some reason the phone just went dead. I heard you say you were going to go to me, but then it went dead. I'm so glad I had a chance to talk to you.
For sure. We're glad to have you. What's going on with your Ford?
Oh, well, golly, I've been listening to your show for the last couple weeks without missing. Sometimes I have to miss, but and you've been talking about the battery's gone bad, and oh yeah, happening to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you have an F350, that means you've got dual batteries and big batteries, so it's, you know, a more expensive ordeal than somebody driving a compact car. So anyway, I was watching my battery gauge, you know, not being up to par, you know, and waiting until after the first till I had money. So finally, after the first, I did go in, and not going to mention where I went to buy the batteries, but the ones that were in my truck were still under warranty because it's a 3 years warranty, and the batteries were 2.5 years old. So I thought, well, I best go back there. You know, I'm not feeling too flush with money right now, and you know, maybe I'll get some credit, which would be very helpful. So I go on in, and unfortunately the batteries, they had only 2 left in the size for my pickup truck. I'd called ahead to find out and make sure that they had some, and they did. They said they had 2, so I thought, boy, I better get down there quick. And when they pulled the batteries out, I noticed they had date stickers on them, and these batteries were almost exactly 1 year old sitting on the shelf. I wondered, firstly, is that a potential problem?
Oh, you know, I've never been asked that question. Kurt, you ever been asked that question before?
You bet it's a potential problem. Now, it doesn't.
Well, I thought so.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean it is a problem. There is a certain shelf life, and the date sticker that you're seeing on that battery was when it was manufactured.
Right.
If somebody does a decent job of maintaining the battery while it's in stock, like a battery maintainer, it will not. What goes wrong with batteries is they sulfate the plates. So if they did a decent job of that, keeping the battery up to charge and everything else, there's probably no significant, because the average battery is 7 to 8 months old anyway by the time you buy it. So you're not seeing a significantly different experience buying a year-old battery. I mean, it's a little bit older, and it depends. Like, you know, we were talking earlier about interstate. The common batteries that get cycled a lot more often, you're going to get a younger, fresher battery. And that might be a little bit better in some instances. We test all of our batteries that we have in stock, and some of the a little bit 2 months older will test better than one that's brand new. I just don't think there's a real significant difference. Now, you're a diesel applicator. You have 7.3 in that, right?
Yeah, she's not with us now, but
that application eats batteries. So yeah, you've got to. Those are really, really tough. You're doing the right thing. Replace them. Always replace 2 batteries at the same time, because it's a diesel, and those batteries will fight each other if there's any difference at all. If you have a relationship with somebody that knows how to test batteries and do the right thing, what you do is wait about 6 months, test them in the vehicle. It should be no problem at all. We do it all the time. I mean, no charge. It's just a quickie test, and make sure those batteries are still about equal, so they're not fighting each other. If that's good, then just run them through the life of the battery. You're fine.
Well, I noticed, one of the things at my shop, we do have interstate batteries. Those people come in every week, and they rotate stock. So they're constantly, they take some back, they bring some in. They take some back, they bring some in. So that's going on a regular basis, with interstate. And I don't know how other vendors, we carry interstate, so I don't know how other vendors handle that. But they shouldn't be excessively old. But like you said, there's going to be some months on them.
2 or 3 year old battery in stock, I would never. I mean, if I ever went to my stock and my, I no. But you're right. Yeah, the better battery, manufacturers are going to do that. They're going to rotate them out.
Well, thanks so much for the call, Nancy. 602-277-5827. We are going to go with Wayne in Phoenix on a 2009 BMW 535i. How can we help you, Wayne? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Hey, Wayne, are you with us? All right. Not sure what's going on there.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Wayne, how you doing?
Good. I got a 2009 BMW, and over the last few weeks, I'm getting a really bad fume of gas. What can that be?
BMW. What kind of BMW do you have?
It's a 535i.
535i.
Okay. I don't know of a common problem like there's something that happens all the time, but all of your European, the Jaguar, BMW, Mercedes, they have some problems leaking around and at the injectors and the lines in the engine compartment. Are you more towards the front of the car, or do you think maybe it's towards the rear of the car?
I smell it towards like the rear of the car, almost by where you fill your gas. You fill your gas at.
Yep.
But it's not all the time. So I mean, it's intermittent.
Yeah, that very likely to be something to do with the evaporative emission system. That car recycles the fumes that come from the gas tank. It holds them in a charcoal canister and then releases them into the car. All cars do now. And something in that system is likely defective and causing it to vent the fumes up into the atmosphere.
Yeah, I think it's always a scary thing for people when they smell gas.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, well, why do I smell gas? Is this car like going to blow up? Is something going to go on? But a lot of times it's the evap system, something not functioning right in that thing. And a lot of times you will see check engine lights, and that's probably one of the most commonly ignored check engine lights. Mm-hmm. People go in the shop says, oh, it's probably just a bad gas cap, because sometimes it is just a bad gas cap. And that'll set those type of codes, and so they'll guess, it's a good educated guess to throw in a $10, $20, $30 gas cap. Try that first. But there's a whole system with solenoids that open and close. They close ports, and there's the charcoal canister like you described. But that's pretty much the first thing not to get fixed in the shop. I don't know if you noticed that, Kurt.
And nobody wants to deal with them. When I teach it in my classes, and we get to advanced diagnostics is the first time we cover those because it's such a complicated system, and it can be intimidating. A lot of shops that aren't real technically knowledgeable don't have the equipment or whatever to fix that stuff, and they'll kind of urge the customer to leave it alone. I have a real problem with that because once that check engine light comes on, there's no different color to tell you now there's some major drivability concern that's come along after that. And we'll get that where somebody will come in and say, oh, yeah, I know my check engine light has been, I got a new problem, it runs funny, but it has nothing to do with it. The check engine light's been on for 2 years. Well, you go there and the check engine light, yeah, sure, the first code is an EVAP problem, and they'll say, oh, I just have a bad gas cap. But then there's 7 codes after that they've been ignoring for the last year and a half, and, you hate that.
Well, Wayne, you're in luck because you're in Phoenix, and Matt Allen at Virginia Auto Service, they do a lot of BMW stuff. They work on a lot of European cars, and they're very good at it. So go visit them. It probably won't be anything too complicated or something. A lot of these vehicles have what we call pattern failures, things that we see over and over and over again. And somebody who works on BMWs every day go, oh, yeah, that's just the goncular valve, whatever. Something like, they're going to pretty much know where to go. And a lot of times when we're looking at problems like that, we use smoke machine, and we pump smoke into the fuel system to see where the smoke comes out. Where is that leak actually coming from? Anyhow, when we come back, we're taking phone calls at 602-277-5827. We're going to get to some of your texts at 411-923. You're listening to Today Without Matt on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Here's what Carrie from Tempe had to say about her experience with Good Works Auto Repair.
As soon as you realize, I need to get some work done on my car, I'm sure the thought occurs to you that you're about to get taken for a ride. I used to share the same sentiment and wondered if the shop was going to make something up and have me spending hundreds of dollars instead of $30 I was planning on for a simple oil change. This is one of the reasons I will only go to Good Works Auto Repair. Because I trust them. Putting trust in an auto shop didn't come easily. It's been built over several visits with them doing exactly what was needed, not coercing me into unnecessary work. Ask them for an oil change and a safety inspection, they do just that. No baloney, list of filters, belts, and whatchamacallits that need replacing on my new car. Thank you, Good Works Auto Repair, for being there for me when I need you.
Appreciate the kind words. It's always a pleasure. Glenn Hayward here. Come experience what award-winning auto service should be. Good Works Auto Repair in Tempe, or visit us at goodworksautorepair.com.
Are you looking for a refreshing change in customer service? I'm Lee Weatherby from Accurate Automotive. How about a refreshing change in your car repair relationship with honest, clear, and responsive service that looks out for your needs and not ours? For over 20 years, we've been delivering award-winning service provided by ASE-certified technicians with one goal, looking out for your best interest. If it needs fixing, we'll tell you. If it doesn't, you'll know that too. I guarantee that you will not get that business-as-usual treatment at Accurate Automotive. Foreign and domestic, cars, trucks, and even fleet service, Accurate can handle your job. I invite you to come in and experience a refreshing difference in car repair and maintenance. Stop by for a free courtesy inspection, a $49 value. We feel it is well worth our investment in you because we know that good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. I'm Lee Weatherby, and I'll be there to greet you. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robeson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
KTAR News, on air, 92.3 FM, online at KTAR.com, and on every device with the KTAR app. Arizona's breaking news and traffic, now.
KTAR News Time is 11:30. I'm Julie Levin. No containment yet in the fast-moving sand fire that's charred thousands of acres in the hillside of Santa Clarita, California. ABC's Philip Mena is there.
The blaze forcing hundreds to evacuate from their homes.
They gave us a voluntary evacuation, and then shortly after that, they gave us a mandatory evacuation.
This, one of 10 currently burning across the state, fanning the flames, a brutal heat wave with triple-digit temperatures.
Following Clinton's selection of Virginia Senator Tim Kaine as her running mate, will Bernie Sanders supporters back Clinton's pick? ABC's news political director Rick Klein weighs in.
I don't see a large number of Sanders backers gravitating behind Donald Trump. I just don't see it once you lay out the choice that's in front of the American people, and it is a binary choice for all intents and purposes. Maybe some will go with the Green Party candidate.
Clinton introduced Kaine in Miami today and says he is everything Donald Trump and Mike Pence are not. And now let's get a check on traffic and weather. From the RMEGold.com Traffic Center, here's Mike Daniels.
Well, thank you, Julie. We do have a couple of Surface Street wrecks, one in Sun City at 99th Avenue and Grand, the other in Chandler at Arizona Avenue and Fairview Street. That's just south of Fry Road to watch out for. This report brought to you by CC's Pizza. CC's now has 3 stuffed crust pizzas, original pepperoni, new pretzel, and new bacon stuff. Try them all and your other CC favorites for just $5 and change only at CC's. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
KTAR weather for the Valley. Today, partially sunny, a high of 113. Look for some clouds tonight, a low of 90. Tomorrow will be sunny and hot all day, 109 is the high, a low of 88. Monday, mostly cloudy, 106. And Tuesday, look for an afternoon thunderstorm. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air. It's 103 degrees in Higley. I'm Julie Levin, KTAR News.
Looking for a great way to relax this summer right here in your own backyard? The JW Marriott Camelback Inn has the perfect solution with our summer passport at the renowned Camelback Inn Spa. Valid through September 10th, the passport includes 5 Swedish massage services Monday through Thursdays for just $495. This offer also includes a 20% discount on spa retail purchases as well as 20% off at our Sprouts restaurant on food and non-alcoholic beverages. Slip into at the Camelback Inn Spa. For info, call 480-596-7040 today.
Hi, this is Lori Grenier. You've seen me on Shark Tank. One obstacle many small businesses face is that getting the capital they need can be a difficult task. That's where Cabbage comes in. Cabbage provides simple, flexible access to a line of credit up to $100,000. They have helped 80,000 businesses with over $2 billion in funding. Go to Cabbage.com or call 888-CABBAGE. You'll get a decision in minutes and can start using your funds immediately. Access your line from a phone or computer and only pay for what you take. Make Cabbage your first resort for business funding.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Man, when you play music like that, it makes car repair sounding so much more exciting than it really is. But maybe, maybe it is. I can't wait to go work on my car. Anyhow, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service decided to enjoy Munns Park here today. So I didn't want to be all by myself because I get lonely. So I brought Kurt Morgan from Shadow Mountain Auto Repair in to help you with your car. Kurt is just one of the members of Bumper to Bumper Radio. Bumper to Bumper Radio, we do a radio show. We help you with your car questions. We want to keep you in the know so it feels familiar and relieve anxiety from auto repair because people hate auto repair. It's like, I don't know, like going to the dentist. I don't know anyone who likes going to the dentist. But Bumper to Bumper Radio, the network, also does things like raise money for Phoenix Children's Hospital. And right now, we do this every summer. We're raising money for Phoenix Children's Hospital. And what we do is you can come into our shops and make a donation, $1, $5, $10, $100, whatever you want to donate, and we will match that for Phoenix Children's Hospital. And that's going on, I think, through the end of the summer. So you can stop into
through Labor Day, yeah.
Through Labor Day. Stop into any Bumper to Bumper shop. And if you're in Scottsdale, you can go over to First Class Auto Body. They're collecting donations. Also, if you're on the west side, you can go see Dave Walworth at Interstate Battery. They have a couple locations out there that you can stop by. All these places you can find at bumpertobumperradio.com. There's somewhere, anywhere that you can, in the city, you can find someone to donate money for Phoenix Children's Hospital, and it's part of our sharing the love with Phoenix Children's Hospital. Anyhow, to get to the phone calls, you know what? We got to get to a couple texts. Kurt, since you're so good at electrical, I think this one is right up your alley. This gentleman or gal has a 2001 Ford F350 V10, and it's slow to start. The battery's tested fine, so it's more than likely the starter, power cables, or a solenoid. And What are you thinking? What comes to mind for you?
You know, I remember years ago I had somebody brought me a car and they'd replaced everything, battery, cables, whatever, and I found an open between the alternator and the cable and the battery, and repaired it. That's all they had needed, and they had a new starter, new alternator, new battery, new blah blah blah, and I remember saying, well, here it is, and he said, "Oh, so I was on the right track." It's like, well, yeah, I guess.
You just went to Tucson by way of Flagstaff,
right,
sir.
So, and it's like, okay, yeah, sure, it's something in the electrical system. First thing I always ask is, somebody says slow to start, is because it's cranking. You got to know the cranking speed. If they're really on the right track and it really is cranking slow, obviously we're either dropping voltage to the starter or we've got a starter that's not able to keep up. It's pretty simple. There's some tests that we do. You've got to be able to do a voltage drop test. If under a load that voltage to the starter is within specs, and you've just got a bad starter, one of the things that I'll advise everybody to do is always check our ground circuit voltage, because we see a lot of resistance build up on ground circuits, especially on pickup trucks that have a bunch of miles on them, and we'll replace starters and cables and stuff over and over again and not get to the root of the problem. But that's not a brain surgery diagnosis. That one should be pretty easy.
Well, thanks so much for your text. You can text us at 411-923. We've got Bruce and Tom, and we're going to go to Robert. And we got some more open lines at 602-277-5827. How can we help you, Robert, in Phoenix on a 94 Nissan half-ton pickup with 200,000 miles on it? What can we do for you?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I get vibration about 60 miles an hour. It starts at about, just under 60 and kind of goes away if I go faster than that.
Is it like from 60 to 62 miles an hour? Or is it
something like that. But I've balanced all the tires, and my question is can there be another source of imbalance, like the drive shaft or maybe the wheel itself? And is there a place that I used to believe that there were places in Phoenix where you could balance the wheel on the car or on the truck. Does that still exist, or is that?
I don't really know any off the top of my head. There's shops that have something called a road force balancer. I know Matt at Virginia Auto, they have that, and that's taken it a step further to balance it. But anytime I hear of a vibration that's from, it's just got a real small window of, 2 to 3 miles per hour, I'm immediately thinking tires. And so I'll have someone come to me, and I'll go take a car for a drive, and it'll be a tire vibration. And I'll say it's a tire vibration. They say, no, I just have the tires balanced at discount. I already went there. I'm smarter than you. And no, I'm teasing a little bit. But they say that it doesn't mean they are truly balanced. I had a friend that bought a new truck, 4 new tires, but he also did custom wheels. Well, those wheels were balanced great. They just weren't centering. The tire shop left off the centering rings that centered those wheels on the vehicle. So that was what was causing his problem. So just because they balanced out great doesn't mean they're perfectly round. And that's one thing that you're going to pick up on a road force balancer. So yes, there could be other causes, drive shaft vibrations. You mentioned, U-joints, things like that. Those are very specific, and I know what those sound like or feel like when I drive the car. And they kind of create a moan in the truck, and they'll change a little bit on and off the gas. I've seen that happen, but I think you're still in the tire direction. Kurt, any thoughts on that?
I'm with you. Boy, those road force balancers sure have been a savior in our industry, because vibrations can be the bane of our existence sometimes. Yeah. And there's so many different things that can cause it. And you hit on the right point right there. I mean, exactly, that you can't balance out of round. We say that over and over. You get a tire that distorts, the carcass of the tire distorts under a load, and that's different than putting it on just a regular balancer. So somebody that has that road force balancer that can put pressure against that tire and see if it distorts under a load, and then will or will not balance or balances differently under a load, you've got a problem. And if that hasn't been done, that's certainly something that I would be going after next.
Well, thanks so much for the call, Robert. 602-277-5827. We are going to go with Tom in Sun City. He has got a 2004 Grand Marquis. How can we help you, Tom?
I have this car, and I'm calling you because I had an accident. And, I have the car that hit me in the back of the driver's side front door. And what was happening was I was in the center lane of a 3-lane road. I wanted to make a left coming up, so I was going to get into the left lane. I looked my mirrors, and I checked to see there was nobody there, and I was going in that space, and this car come flying down and hit me.
Mm.
And, you know, I ended up with the cops keep citating me. And he put on the citation, no signal.
Mm.
How could he do that? Because I did make a signal.
Yeah, that's something I literally just went through, Kurt. I think I told you about it. I had that situation. I was on the freeway with my turn signal on and move over, and somebody didn't want to let me in, and I actually ended up getting cited. And he wrote unsafe lane change, I think was the name of the citation. And my point was, well, he wasn't there, so how could he tell it was an unsafe lane change? It's pretty darn subjective, really.
And I went through it 3 weeks ago. My daughter turned left. She waited till the light turned red. She turned and waited a long time, turned left. A guy ran the red light and hit her, and she got cited for failure to yield.
Mm-hmm.
In Arizona, that's the law. If you turn left, even though she had waited, and thankfully witnesses stayed and said this guy ran the red light. But there are certain laws that I think that the police have to follow.
Right.
In Arizona law, you just never know the intricacies of the law. They have to do certain things under certain circumstances, and we don't know it all.
And just because you got cited doesn't mean you're at fault. That's what the insurance companies work out.
Let them fight it out.
And that's what happened in this situation is that I told my insurance company, I said, listen, this isn't an unsafe lane change. This is a guy that was mad that I moved over in front of him, and it was just a bad situation. They said, no, we totally get it, and we'll sort that out. So the ticket is not admission of fault or anything like that. It just happens to be, I don't know.
That's what your insurance is for. Let them fight it out. Legal stuff, scares me.
But it sounds like you need a good body shop. You're over there on the west side of town. I-17 Collision is fantastic. I have friends call me all the time. They say, where do I go for a body shop? I said, well, hey, call I-17 Collision. They will actually send a tow truck up, pick your car up, take it back to their shop, fix it, and bring it back to your house, and you never step one foot in the door of their body shop. It is fantastic. Everyone I've sent there brags about them. That's I-17 Collision. You can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. We are going to go with Bruce on a 2001 3/4-ton V10. That's the second V10 today. Hey, Bruce, you are on Bumper.
Sir. Thank you for taking my call. I have an air conditioning issue with this truck. It's got a split in the air conditioning hose, and they tell me that there's no aftermarket hoses available. That I have to get a hose made or something?
Oh, yeah, that's more and more common, I see anymore with I don't know, it feels like I'm running into that on Ford all the time.
Yeah,
cars, as soon as it's 10 years old, I can't get parts.
It's a common car.
I would prefer to get a part when I can from Ford Motor Company when it's cost effective and it works good for the customer. So I like that. But I call them and they say, we don't make that. But there are guys around town, in most shops, Kurt, you probably got a shop that you go to that will make AC hoses for you.
Absolutely. We have to. It is. I prefer the factory fit and everything. But now, and we're getting better at building hoses. Now that we're doing it more and more often because we see this. I trust the hose builder more and more. It used to be it was just not as good a quality, and I'd still prefer a factory hose. But when it's not available, I don't mind too much going to somebody who does a good job. The cheapest guy is never the guy who's doing the best job. Out here in Arizona, the heat and everything else, it's got to be good quality stuff. But hey, have a hose built. It's not a big deal anymore.
Anyhow, when we come back, we're taking more phone calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277, KTAR. You listen to Bumper Radio.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Westline Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service is enjoying northern Arizona today. The nice and cool. I don't know why you wouldn't want to be in this town when it's 110 degrees out. I mean, it is fantastic. Right?
115.
115. I guess I'm either way, it's just hot. Anyway, so he is enjoying the cool weather. And Bruce, on the hose question, basically those hoses, any auto repair shop, there's shops that we go to that don't necessarily deal with the public. As far as shops that specifically deal to the public with hose building, Kurt, do you know of any?
I have used Hose Depot quite a bit over on Cave Creek Road, and I like them. They seem to be pretty good. There's several. Now there's mobile guys that will come out. If he's got the ability to do it himself, maybe have a shop do the evacuate and recharge on the air conditioning, absolutely. There are several hose builders that will come out and do it. Just look them up.
Well, hope that helps. We are going to go with Ron in Scottsdale. He's got a 2001 Nissan Altima. How can we help you, Ron? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Well, this goes back to about the middle of May. I brought my car into my local shop I've been using for years, which I do trust. It's been around for a long time. And my air conditioning wasn't working. Another shop told me I need a new compressor. Anyway, to make a long story short, it was just the the belt. It was missing the belt. They put the belt on. AC was running fine, but they said, while we were test driving it, your fuel pump went out. So they replaced the fuel pump. And to make a long story short, I've brought it back in there 1 to 2 times a week for the past 2 months because it keeps acting like it's running out of gas and it just dies on me. And they've tried replacing fuel pump, fuel filter. They've gone through modules. They've checked codes on computers, and it's getting ridiculous. It's been 2 months, and I just got it back the other day. Drove about 10 miles, and it just choked up on me. And it's one of those ghost issues that just having a hard time figuring out.
There's some shops, I don't know if that shop's capable of an exorcism, but some shops do that kind of stuff. I mean, it comes in handy at some point. Kurt, what are the things that come into your mind? He had this AC repair where the belt fell off. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but belts don't just fall off generally. I mean, usually the compressor locks up and burns the belt off.
And maybe it's related, maybe it's not, but they're in that area, and I'm thinking maybe he's got a problem with the front crank pulley and maybe having a crankshaft position sensor interference of some kind. We're dealing with something on the front of the motor. If there's anything in common with a drivability problem and the front of the motor, my first thought would be going towards a wiring harness issue with a front crank sensor or something along those lines. Now, it could be totally related to something different, and you never know. You've got to start from square one and do the right diagnosis. If this is a real intermittent problem, that sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like your shop is working really hard trying to take care of it, but they may also be getting in a little bit over their head, and I don't know the whole situation enough to say that, but at some point, if they can duplicate the problem but they're unable to fix it, it may take somebody who can kind of move it to the next level as far as diagnostics.
Yeah, for sure. And it may be one of those things where if you keep going back, you've already got a relationship with those people. Just take it down there, maybe talk to the owner or the manager, say, listen, I appreciate you guys' work and taking care of my car. I'm going to give you this car, and I'll come get it when it's fixed, and just keep me in the loop, what you're going, where the progress is, but I want you to drive the car to and from work. That's how when we got cars with intermittent issues that are hard to figure out, we put our best technician in it. We give them the shop scanner, and we say, just go drive it. You take it to and from work till we get this thing figured out. And that's what we do, because you got to have a car that you can rely on, that I'm going to turn the key in, it's going to start, and it's going to get to me get me where I want to go. So, but at some point, if you have one of those issues, we got to be willing to do something a little more extreme.
It's tough. Bane of our existence is the intermittent those difficult things. But you make your money and you succeed by doing the stuff that's hard. Doing the stuff that's difficult is what determines whether or not you're going to succeed or fail. That certainly sounds like a nightmare, but I love those, because that's what determines how good you are.
There's a part of us that's just like, I got to fix it, fix it. Yep. Well, let's go with Mike in Prescott. He's got a 2005 Buick Rendezvous. How can we help you, Mike? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate that.
You bet.
Hey, it's 05 Buick Rendezvous. I've got a check engine light that's intermittent. You talk about problems and issues. I had it diagnosed. I went to Action or Auto Zone, and it threw about 9 to 10 codes. A couple of them were the crankshaft position sensor, O2 sensors, stuff like that. So I figured I'd change the O2 sensors, see if that works. Still, the light's still on. It's still not working. Kind of no power. So I take it to the dealer. They replaced the module. Took the light. The light went out. About a month later, it came back on. Same symptoms. I took it to the AutoZone. Same firing off 9, 10 codes. Took it back to the dealer, and they narrowed it down. They did a separate circuit for the O2 sensor and put an inline fuse in. So the light went out, and I ran it, and it came on about 2 months later, and that fuse was popped. So what's the deal on that now?
Oh man, Kurt, you're salivating a little bit. I see it coming down your lip.
Sounds like another one of those that's kind of a difficult problem, but they're putting a Band-Aid. They're not able to fix it correctly, so they're putting a Band-Aid on there. If it's in the O2 sensor circuit, the only part of that circuit that carries enough current that you can fuse it is the heater circuit, the heater part of that circuit. Bouncing back and forth between AutoZone and the dealer certainly is not something, the guy at AutoZone, they mean well, but the guy that was flipping burgers last week is probably not going to diagnose a difficult electrical problem on your late model car. So they're not a good resource for anything other than pulling the code, which you're going to have done at wherever you go anyway. If the dealer is not willing to fix it correctly, you need to find somebody who will spend the time to fix it correctly. Obviously, there is a short in the system somewhere. It's intermittently, causing the problems that it causes, and they put a fuse in there as a Band-Aid because they don't want to trace down where it's shorting out, which can be really difficult. I'm not, that sometimes, under extreme circumstances. Once in the last 10 years, I've done something like that.
And that could have even been a test step. Okay, because we're getting a pile of codes when we blow this thing. So rather, we just want to see if it's in this branch over here or this branch over here.
I try hard not to throw the other guy under the bus.
Right.
But if it came into one of my classrooms, I'm talking to my students or something, I'd be like, first of all, what did we do wrong? And 90% of my class better raise their hand and start pointing at stuff. And so I don't know without seeing it. But if you got a whole bunch of codes, there is a way that you delineate which code you're going to start with, what you're going to trace down first, what you're going to do, that kind of thing. And I think that he's not been well served as far as somebody who spent the time to fix it correctly.
Well, yeah, and I think a good point there. Going back and forth between AutoZone and the dealership is probably not the most effective way. I think it just becomes too many cooks and too many ideas in the kitchen, and we just need to get it to somebody who knows what they're doing and get it fixed. Yep. So, anyhow, we are going to go with Eric in Phoenix on a Chevrolet Colorado. How can we help you, Eric? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I have my 04 Colorado, and I've got this intermittent no-start problem. It's really interesting. Basically, on occasion, I go to start my car, and it won't turn over. And this can happen despite having a brand-new battery or not, and it's really embarrassing and frustrating. Even my work knows about it. Like, I'll go and I'll leave because we'll travel, and I'll go turn it on. It won't turn on. But if I wait 10 to 15 minutes, it'll flame on like nothing happened. So, like, on certain days, I almost run out early and kind of see if my car will start. If it starts, I'm good. If it doesn't, that's okay, because now that I tried to start it, I go and I finish showering later, whatever, I jump in, and it goes on like nothing happened.
When you say it's not starting, do you hear the engine cranking over like, or is it just...
I hear that, and then it just won't finish the process.
Okay. It's not consummating.
It's a
and I've taken it to mechanics before, and they're like, well, it didn't do it for us, and you don't know what you're talking about.
Right,
it's like a ghost no-start problem.
No, I don't know if they're saying you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe they're saying, I don't know. Those are again one of those situations. It is difficult. I mean, sometimes there's crumb trails and things that we can kind of take us in the direction of we think that's what it might be, but when it's actually happening to us, that's when we want to catch it in the act. We want to see what is missing from this situation. Kurt, anything comes to mind for you on that?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot easier to say the customer doesn't know what they're talking about. It's all in their head and they're crazy. Because the difficult problems, we can shove it off on the customer like that, then hey, we don't have to deal with the target.
You got to work this out on a couch with a therapist,
right.
Or I can't help you.
No, I mean, it irritates me a little bit because, of course, the customer's not crazy. Customers do not.
He's got better things to do than go to the auto shop.
Right. Yeah,
There's got to be something going on.
Nobody wakes up and says, "Oh boy, I'm going to make up something and go to the auto shop." So obviously, now with that said, we've got to duplicate the customer's concern, and sometimes that can be difficult. But certainly we've got to take the time to do that, do everything that we can to do that. And this sounds like a pretty regular, consistent problem that we should be able to. And of course, there's 100 things can cause a crank no start, but duplicate it first. Get a shop that'll spend the time to duplicate it correctly, and it shouldn't be that difficult of a diagnosis.
And the other thing too, when you drop a car off for an intermittent issue like that, you got to be prepared to leave the car. Yep. And not leave the car where you're going to have 4 mechanics on the hood eating lunch where I got 4 of my best guys on it. Not that kind of situation, but you want a shop that's going to randomly go out during the day, and maybe they just leave the scanner hooked up or, test tools hooked up and just randomly go out there and try out throughout the day just like you do when you're in, before you get in the shower. Anyhow, we're glad you could join us. Thanks, Bree, for running the dials. If you're looking for a friendly, honest, and competent, which is a big deal, shop, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. While you're there, be sure to like the Bumper to Bumper family on Facebook. Remember never to text and drive. From all the shops at Bumper to Bumper, have a great weekend.